On today's show, we get into Atlanta United's victory and why the best ship is championships, especially here in the city of Atlanta. Then we have a new segment called Choy to the World. We're going to explain what that's all about. And then we end the show talking about why Brian McCann is not just a voice in the dugout, that he'll be much more for the Atlanta Braves this coming season. This is the ATL Boxscore podcast with Alex Berger, and this is Pro Style Thursday. Now, you guys might be wondering, how does a podcast that just recently started, what do I use for recording space? Well, I actually use a place called Spaces, and I go to the center that's Spaces Midtown East, and I use their resources that they have here to create my podcast and to put it out there to the world and to do other business related things. And it's pretty much my home base to grow my business and my product that I'm developing for you guys. And if you want to check it out, I have Steve Choy with me, who is one of the regional managers who manages a lot of different centers, also with Spaces and the Regis brand, to tell you more about Spaces Midtown East.
Hey, thanks, Alex, for inviting me on the show. We love having you as well as ATL Boxscore with us here at Spaces. I want to invite anybody, all your listeners, to come in and take a test drive. Let us know that Alex sent you. We'll give you a free 5-day test drive to Spaces, which is a hybrid, collaborative, and private workspace location. We're all over the world, particularly here in Atlanta. We have 5 locations, and we'll be opening 2 more soon here. So I am the area manager. Come on in. We offer private offices as well as 8,000 square feet of collaborative space for our members to come in and check it and just be productive. So again, come on in. Let us know that Alex sent you and the ATL Boxscore, and we'll go ahead and set you up for 5 days free.
Well, thank you, Steve. Definitely appreciate you. Definitely appreciate your friendly staff for helping me out and giving me all the resources I need to be successful. If you want to know more about Spaces Midtown, they are just a block north from the Fox Theater. I know all you guys know where the Fox Theater is. They're just a block north from the Fox Theater, and I'm going to put the website in the show description, so you have no excuses if you're like me, trying to start your own business or your own brand. Check out Spaces Midtown East. Well, hey everybody, we're back. Isn't it good to be back?
It's great to be back.
It's great to be back.
It's been a great week so far, buddy.
Yeah, it has for the city of Atlanta, and yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Wouldn't you say so?
Not every week you win a championship.
Yeah. So welcome back, friends, to the ATL Boxscore podcast with Alex Berger. And this is foreign territory, I think, for a lot of people, and especially a lot of people that live in the city of Atlanta or in the metro area. You're not used to the goings on that happened this past week with, I dare say, my brother tried to give me a Barstool T-shirt that said something that it was like it was pro Red Sox or pro just New England that said championship parade repeat, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't feeling it. So I texted my brother on Monday and said, "Hey, David, there's a championship there's a parade going on.
Oh yeah.
There's a parade going on in downtown Atlanta, and it's for a Atlanta sports team." And guess what, Steve?
What?
He didn't respond back.
Oh.
So we just want to say here on the ATL Boxscore podcast, congratulations
Whoop, whoop.
to Atlanta United for bringing back the first championship in 23 years.
That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
And in only their second year of existence.
True. At first, I'm like, okay, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was one of the doubters when it came to the soccer team. I was hoping for success, but yes, I've seen the Atlanta Thrashers come and go. But maybe Arthur Blank might get it right. He's had his ups and downs with the Falcons, but hey, maybe something might spark this. Then I was surprised how consistent the fan base started selling out Bobby Dodd Stadium for soccer games. And I gotta say too, and this isn't a shot at Tech, but you have this brand new soccer team that comes in to your building and sells out, and they're pretty much like trying to give away football tickets there on North Avenue.
Wow.
And then you have a soccer team that's new, just sold out, which your football team has been playing football for over 100 something years, and you still haven't figured out how to sell out consistently outside of a whiteout game.
That's sad.
Hey,
It is what it is.
it's just Georgia Tech, I think.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, but we're not trying to
Not
get
hating.
into not hating
No
on Tech.
hate in the A.
We're too busy to hate.
That's right. Yes. Atlanta, the city too busy to hate. I love that saying.
Yeah.
I love that saying.
Yeah.
What's that other saying that was said at the George Bush funeral about ships passing?
And the best ships are friendships.
I would have to say the best ships are championships.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa.
That's right. But we do have a little Choy to the world, a new segment we're doing here on the ATL Boxscore that we're going to get into a little bit later. But we're still basking in this, and I'm
loving it.
I'm going to put it this way. I am not a big soccer fan, and if you're a hardcore Atlanta United fan, this probably isn't the podcast you want to be listening to get your information, but we're going to work on that, and we're going to give you some more, talk about a little bit more Atlanta United when their season happens in March, and we'll figure some things out.
Maybe even invite, if you're listening and you are a hardcore Atlanta United fan and you're in general a great soccer fan, very knowledgeable, maybe you should come on to the show. What do you think?
Yeah, and if you feel like you can write articles about that are appealing, or you think that are going to be appealing, we could give you a test drive.
Yeah, I think you should invite somebody on and have a chat and see what you got.
Right.
That game was awesome.
Right,
It was exciting.
and you know what? I'll even put the stakes higher.
Okay,
like
raise those stakes.
Like the lights.
What you got?
If you're a hardcore Atlanta United fan and you think you have enough soccer knowledge to talk on a podcast about your team, we'll test drive you. Steve, you know a lot about test driving,
I know about
right?
test driving.
You know about those test
I
driving.
know about test driving.
We will test drive you, and you will win a $50 Chick-fil-A gift card.
Oh, whoa, that's big time. I don't even have a $50 Chick-fil-A card.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I have like a $10 one on my Pico that I've been
Big
meaning
bucks
to
at
like,
Chick-fil-A. That's like several. That's like a week's worth of food, lunches.
or a month if you space it out.
Yeah.
So we'll put in there a $50 Chick-fil-A gift card
I like it.
if you're a knowledgeable Atlanta United fan.
I dig it.
And we'll put that on the Twitter spheres after this podcast gets released.
Do it.
So, yeah, that was a little improv, but I think that'll help us out.
I'm all for it.
I know.
So to get into to get to the point, I'm not a soccer fan either. I wasn't very knowledgeable about soccer. So when I was in the Bay, the San Jose Earthquakes were the big hot ticket out there. Landon Donovan, who's a big American soccer player, made it to several Olympic teams.
Do you remember when David Beckham was flirting with the LA Galaxy?
Yeah, I don't remember it so much in terms because LA is not where I'm from.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that. They usually when a David Beckham type comes to MLS, I think this is the reason why I've never really taken MLS super seriously is because it is sort of like a B league to the real leagues out in Europe, right?
It's a catch-22 because if you come here, you're someone like David Beckham. Yeah, like the competition will probably be like ACC, like competition. It won't be like SEC, which you're used to.
Right.
But at the same time, you're gonna get a heck of a lot more exposure. You'll just get a heck of a lot more exposure because you'll have ESPN and all these big sports networks that are known for here in the U.S.
Right. You don't get that American coverage that.
Yeah, you get that American coverage that you're really not going to get around the world.
Which is big bucks. So I wasn't a huge fan. So obviously, I've had friends here, and I think the reason why the fan base here in Atlanta is as huge as it is because I think there's some sort of correlation with a few years ago I read an article that named Atlanta the nerdiest city in the United States.
Really?
And I think
who was that article?
I'll have to pull it up. I'll find it for you. But it was named the nerdiest city in America.
So
and I think that has something to do. And here's why. Those soccer scarves look a lot like the Harry Potter scarves.
Well, that's a European thing, but yeah, I feel like
no, I'm not just talking about the length of the kind of scarf, but like the color scheme and all that.
Yeah, that's like a European soccer thing, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I think there's a little Gryffindor Harry Potter thing going on. Yeah, because
I got you.
In Harry Potter, and I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm not really a Harry Potter guy, but I've seen enough. Like they do that Quidditch thing, which is essentially soccer.
Well, it's their magical version of soccer.
It's magical soccer on broomsticks. Yes. So I think,
and they have the Quidditch World Cup.
Right. So hear me out here. So nerdiest city in America, a color scheme, red, black, and gold, which is the Gryffindor color scheme.
Interesting.
Harry Potter, Quidditch, and here's the reason why I say that. The friends that I do know that go to the Atlanta United games, some of the people are like the biggest nerds out there. And I don't mean that.
Yes, I agree with you with that. I agree with you with that.
And I'm not saying anything about that. That's not. I think that they should be proud of that. But they are the biggest nerds, and you would think, I don't even know. I wouldn't even have assumed you were into sports, and yet they are like the most hardcore, die-hard fans for Atlanta United.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that with my friends on Facebook.
Right.
I'm kind of just like, you're into sports, and
And
You
they're
spent
not
and you
into
spent some
any
time
other
in
sports,
Athens.
any other Atlanta sports or anything like that, but they are hardcore Atlanta United fans, and I think it has to do with them being nerds.
That's an interesting theory.
Thank
I
you.
could I can kind of see that. I also think too it's just I think another faction is that you had kids that were playing soccer since they were 4 or 5 and just really liked the sport and just kept up with it.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute.
I mean,
possibility.
they probably got into what was going on um, with the overseas leagues. I mean, you see Manchester United is pretty much is kind of like the Notre Dame of
Yeah.
Premier Soccer over there.
Makes sense.
So I think that's one of the reasons why. That's another reason probably you have the crowds that you have at Atlanta United games. Also, there's a contention of the city that's more inside 285 that comes from a
ITP?
foreign ITP.
ITP,
What's outside the perimeter? OTP.
OTP. You down with OTP?
I guess so because I think we're both OTPers.
See, only an Atlanta-based podcast could actually talk about ITP, OTP.
6A of the fans don't even talk about that.
Nah, really?
They don't even know about
You
that.
down with OTP? Yeah, you know me.
But like we said, to the point, and I know this is kind of going all over the place, and like I said, you're probably frustrated if you're a hardcore Atlanta United fan, but it's good to see Mr. Martino go out the way he did because he's been around a lot of North American soccer and South American, and so it's good to see a guy like that has a illustrious career go out the way he did with his last season here in Atlanta. A little disappointed that he didn't try to speak more English. A little disappointed in that. I'm gonna be
That's what you're
totally honest.
disappointed in? Okay.
Yes, that he didn't learn how to speak more English. I wonder how much, and this would be a good Twitter question. So you guys out there on Twitter, how much does the translator for Atlanta United make?
Wow, I bet a lot.
You bet a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like Tiger Woods' caddy that gets like?
Nah, probably not. No, because they'll probably just fire that person and go hire another translator. I would be surprised if that person's not making 6 figures.
Interesting. It makes me want to pick up a second language, and because it's like, well, and I don't feel like with the translator, maybe I'm totally wrong on this.
Yeah.
But I don't think with like a translator, you're getting like the full story or how he really felt. So he could be like in an interview, like if they were down and he was frustrated and he had a couple of choice words that he said on national television.
Yeah.
You're never gonna know that unless you know
will
that
not
language.
know. You will not know.
Well, to me, someone or their first language is English. I will never know.
First and only.
Yeah, I've never picked up any other language. I'm making my so
You've picked up on some languages.
oh
You
yeah.
just can't say those languages on there.
Yeah. I know a certain language is always known internationally. A certain word is known very internationally. But congrats to the guys.
Congratulations.
And, Joseph Martinez again, just killing it with that league MVP. Miguel Almaguera.
Okay.
I hear it all the time.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
I mean, he's just the beast.
The beast.
Kind of has a funny looking face, but
One of the Atlanta United players, which I can't say who, lives like about 4 houses down from me.
oh really?
Yeah. and I want to go get a flag so I could just let him know, hey, buddy, I'm down.
Why did you tell me this before?
Because before they won the championship, nobody was really talking about.
No, but still, like they were selling out every game. Why didn't you say that?
I don't know the guy. I would think it would be highly
Do you even know his name?
I do know his name, but I can't say it on air.
Okay.
I want to protect his privacy as well as my own.
Well, it's not like we're giving out your address right now.
Either way, you might know where he lives. Then
Right.
you know that, hey, Steve Choy is about like 4 doors down.
Right. Well, I think too, the fans, I know we're a little off topic. Now we're getting back on topic. I think the fans too, got to give it out to you guys that showed up in the rain. Yeah, granted, when you got into the Benz, it was probably fine. But still, like, I watched the game when they played New York Red Bulls to get into the MLS Cup. And oh my gosh, there was no one there. And I could tell it was freezing cold temperatures. Some of those dudes, though, like for that game, like, because their jerseys were short sleeves and shorts.
Right.
Some of them were just like, just chilling in short sleeves and shorts and like freezing weather.
Hey, well, you know, when you got that adrenaline pumping.
Maybe. It wouldn't be me, though. I'd layer up.
This is why we never played soccer.
No, but seriously, even if I played any sport that required to play outdoors, I mean, I would layer up or.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, you watch baseball players, and when it's even like kind of cold, they've got the turtlenecks out. They got like long sleeves, the long johns. I got all kinds of stuff going on.
Because they signed up to play a sport in 80-degree weather.
Right. Of course, I've never seen basketball be played outdoors. So.
Oh, they've had they had like the Carrier Series.
Oh, I remember that.
For college basketball.
College basketball.
Yeah, you don't see it that much. I mean, well,
that was fun.
it really shouldn't be a sport. I mean, there's a reason why basketball's
Indoors.
Indoors.
Right.
So.
Right.
So, yeah, props to Atlanta United fans for
major props
again showing up to this cup and
setting the record for attendance.
Right, setting the record over
continually
73,000.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, and
so they deserve it. I feel like the team who brought their people to the stage, you know, they deserved it.
And the parade was crazy.
Yeah, you see what I got from the parade?
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that Coke cup.
I got a Coke can.
Yeah, so I mean, it was nice. It's just nice to see the city see some winners
and celebrate.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing that probably sucked is if your team's in the state championship, which that's actually going on right now. So right now it's Blessed Trinity and Calhoun going at it.
Okay.
But now again, we just want to say congratulations to Atlanta United for coming through. Congratulations.
So yeah,
I want to put some sort of sound effect, but I don't want to get like flagged for copyright.
Because we made it. So, yep, shouts out to Atlanta United. I am proud. I'm not from Atlanta, but this is the first soccer team that I've ever, really rooted for.
And we went to a game, too.
Oh, that's the other thing.
Yeah, we went to a game this year.
Yeah, I popped my soccer game cherry.
Me too.
And my mercedes-Benz Stadium cherry.
Me too.
With this game. So, forever be memorable for me.
That was so cool though, just in the span of time this past summer, because literally like I went from seeing what it was like to being in a suite at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which if you ever get that opportunity, go guys, go.
Yeah.
Don't eat for like a week or a day because they got some good food in those
some
suites.
really good food.
So
we were spoiled. We got both Alex and I had the the fortune of being in the suite right behind the goal.
Right.
Okay, and right next to us in another suite was the Olympian that was there to drive down the stake. It was a guest of honor suite.
Yeah, it was pretty nice, especially if you get those guest of honor suites. You need to check them out, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But the crazy thing about that was, just for me personally, was I got to see all that, and then a couple weeks later, I pretty much had like an all-access pass when covering the Corky Kell, which is there. So it was pretty cool. Like, I actually got to go on the field and everything like that, and so.
Baller.
Yeah, always a great time at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And again, congrats.
That was from the actual game when they scored a goal.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Improvising with being a little sound engineer over there, Steve.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing. Adding value.
Yeah, you are. You are. All right. Well, next we're going to have a new segment we call Choy to the World.
Oh, more value added. Here we go.
Yeah, but one of the things, though, I forgot to mention about Atlanta United is, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, and I know this is going to pique your curiosity, but did you know after the parade, I'm assuming in the evening hours, that the team and the MLS Cup made a trip to Magic City?
Wow.
Yeah. Look it up. Look the picture. If you want to look that up, I'm not going to put it on our Twitter account or anything like that, just because of the images, but I am going to put that out there. Look it up on Twitter somewhere, but you're not going to find it on ATL Boxscore. Sorry, guys. But I have some morals.
Wow.
I'm just surprised that it made it there. And this has just been a surreal experience, because I remember I lived here when the Braves won the World Series. I actually saw the game up in New York City because my uncle was getting married.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I remember that. I remember coming back the next day to elementary school, and the parade was on TV. So
it's a big moment for me too. So again, I'm from the Bay, but I've been gone from the Bay for about 10 years now. And when I left, the Giants finally won the World Series 3 times. The Niners went to the Super Bowl once. And then, obviously, the Warriors have been in the championships 4 years in a row.
right.
So I miss out on all those parades whenever they're doing those things because I'm not out there. So not that I got to really partake in the parade here, but it was just really cool to be in the town where the championship is residing.
I got you. I actually saw San Antonio Spurs in their parade when they beat the cheat.
They beat the cheat.
When they beat the cheat. I'll just put it that way.
I love it.
I did get a T-shirt and stuff, though. So I'm just like, yeah, when I saw all that stuff in San Antonio, I was like, man, it's going to be really cool when it happens here in Atlanta.
Sweet, right?
And I knew it just takes one to start something.
Just takes one.
It just takes one.
It takes one. It takes one.
I mean, it took Tom Brady and the Patriots to get stuff started in Boston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you never know. This is a spark. So now we're gonna get into a new segment called Choy to the World.
Joy to the world.
All the boys and girls.
Well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate this little fun little thing that Alex and I have been joking about doing. But it's Alex's podcast, and he can do what he wants to do, right?
Right.
All right.
Explain to the people what Choy to the World is, though.
Joy to the world is just Alex tends to think that I have a colorful view of some of the things that happen around the world and an interesting perspective. And I don't know. I never really think about it, but Alex likes to point things out, and I enjoy. I do have. I'm a very opinionated person sometimes. But so this segment, if it lasts past this one episode, is just about things that I observe.
This is the pilot.
Yeah.
So it better be good.
Oh gosh, pressure.
Better be juicy.
Today's episode or segment will focus on something that I thought was kind of surprising and disappointing at the same time.
It was both and much more.
It was really a lot. So what I'm talking about is, last week there were apparently two big events that took place. One bigger than another for some. So the event that we all that Alex and I both had followed was the funeral services for our president George H.W. Bush, number 41.
Right.
Which, just a disclaimer, I didn't vote. I was too young to vote for.
Me too, buddy.
For President Bush. But neither here nor there, right? So politics aside.
The first time I saw President Bush was in at the beginning of Courage Under Fire, when they do that thing, when they explain what the Gulf War was. But continue.
So politics aside, I thought it was an amazing and very poignant moment.
It was. It
right?
was.
And so there was a rumor simultaneously as this was unfolding. There was a rumor that Marvel was going to release the Avengers 4 trailer sometime Wednesday of that week, and that they had decided to push that off because of the services for our former president.
That makes sense.
Right? But what was really interesting and oddly weird and disappointing was there was a backlash about that, where people were like, well, who cares about President Bush? We want to see this trailer. And I was just taken aback by that. I was like, wow, this is history, like real history that you're witnessing. It's not every day that a president dies and has a funeral service and has a bunch of dignitaries and former presidents go up to speak.
Right.
You are witnessing something that, you might get lucky and witness 4 or 5 of them in your lifetime. I don't know, but it is just one of those things that you can learn a lot. I personally feel like you can learn a lot about your country. You can learn a lot about yourself, and you can learn a lot about history by watching these things.
Yeah, it's always interesting when a dignitary dies, because you do learn a lot about what happened when he was in office, what happened during that time, how he made an impact, and
Absolutely.
just his bio. I mean, the way I learned about Reagan, honestly, was when he passed away.
And that makes sense, right? So this is also, you're right, that's a good point. It's an entry for a lot of people who didn't even realize who George H.W. Bush was, or just knew him as a former president. It was an entryway into learning about that. And it saddens me that there's a demographic, or there's people in this country who feel like I could care less about that. And I'd rather watch a 2-minute or 90-second or however long clip about a movie that's not even out yet, that it's a fictional movie. You'd rather pay more attention to who died in the Avengers than this actual person who has impacted millions of lives. Again, I'm not even talking about the politics. You can love him or hate him, whatever the case may be. The fact is, this is a monumental moment in American history.
Right.
And you're outraged because you want to see a fictional trailer for what essentially is
a fictional movie.
Which is what essentially is a children's movie. Okay? I'm just going to put it out there. I like it. I've watched them. I'm just saying, it's a comic book.
You saw what happened at the end of Infinity War, right?
I did.
Okay, then
I
everyone,
did. I get
that
it.
majority of people just disappeared.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, they're coming back. Okay. Okay. So
With the Jesus figure that they're going to create.
right, they're coming back.
They're
Okay? They're coming back. Okay. In case any of you were wondering or worried, and people were, and again, here, I'm not trying to take away your fandom. I'm really not trying to crap on your day or crap on your parade. Like, I get it. You love it. You cried when Spider-Man died. I get it. Okay. I'm just really, so I have a friend who is really into these movies, and so he had shared with me what someone had said is like, oh, they better put that back on or whatever, and I was like, wow, the level of disrespect is just it's amazing. And so he said to me, he's like, really, you think you find that disrespectful? How can you find it any other way when a person, another human being, has died? And this is not just some, I don't care if it was a person, a homeless person on the street, if it was the president. There, you should respect that.
Like or love George Bush. Let's just be honest right now. Let's just be totally honest. The contributions that George Bush did. Now, he had no direct involvement in Disney World or Marvel or any of that universe, but he helped make the world a secure place where we can indulge in fantasy land.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And I mean, this kind of, when you told me about this, honestly, it frustrated me that it's like, this is the era that we live in, that, hey, like, you don't absolutely have to, if you don't want to, you don't absolutely have to turn on your TV and watch the 4 major news networks of the coverage of this.
No,
even though
you don't have to. No,
you don't have to.
Right.
But at the same time, at least have some respect, even if you didn't agree with this guy's policies, or even if you didn't like his son when he was in office. Sure. You should at least have some sort of respect or some sort of dignity. Like, you should at least have been moved when George W. Bush was wailing there at the end of his speech.
Right.
That you should have felt some sort of sympathy.
Absolutely.
To this man. And yeah, I get it too. On the other side, people can be like, well, he had everything. He did have pretty much everything.
Sure.
But still, the man probably could have gone into, made his millions or whatever, but he served the country, and you should at least have some sort of respect, even if he's not your guy. Now, I'll be honest with you, like, I'm really a supporter of, or I really liked George H. Bush's policies and the way he conducted himself. Like, I feel like it showed true character, and that's how it's about coming together, and it's about unifying.
Agreed.
And honestly, like, the stuff that was going on, I mean, it inspired me because, like, we're so not that way as a country right now.
It moved me when I saw the people talk about or recount the stories, the personal stories they had with George Bush. Not from oh, this is amazing, this guy did X, Y, or Z. Nothing like that, debatable what impact that had. But again, we joked about the line about friendship. The best ships are friendships.
Right.
Why that resonates with me, and why that should resonate with anybody, is because of how true it is. And if at your funeral, when you die, I personally would feel blessed if I had a single friend that could walk up there and feel the way those people felt and express those same things. Because it doesn't matter the stature of the person who's passing. It didn't have to be the president. It's the fact that he made that impact on these people's lives as a friend right? And that to me was what moved me personally. And again, when people disrespected that, I don't care if you don't watch it. I don't care. It's just, again, I just had a problem with that. And I also had a problem with Disney for the reason that I don't know if they had to tell people that they were going to release.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. And this is the analogy I use. And then we'll wrap this up. The analogy I use was, it's like telling 3-year-olds who have no concept of time that Christmas has been canceled because grandpa died. These kids don't care about grandpa. They're too young to care about grandpa. But furthermore, they didn't need to know that Christmas was canceled. You could have made Christmas 2 days later, and they would have been just as happy.
Right.
And this is my analogy. These people who are fans, and rightly so, if you didn't tell them that we were going to drop this trailer on Wednesday, they would have never known.
Right.
And they would have watched it on Friday when it finally came out and have gone nuts like they did.
Right. It makes me wonder too if it just got leaked by these fanboys who have no life.
I'm not gonna go there. All I'm gonna say is the reaction is disappointing.
It is disappointing.
It's disappointing because it just shines a mirror on the state of humanity today, where you'd rather shed a tear for a fictional character dying and not even respect the fact that people want to watch this very important service. Again, whether you watch it or not, it's one thing. But what you're saying is, oh, I want to go. I'd rather see my trailer, so they better put that thing on. That was ridiculous.
It's only going to be 3 minutes at the most.
And folks, that's Choy to the world.
Well, thank you, Steve, for that arousing.
No hate mail, please. No hate mail. Remember, I'm the guy that talked about Atlanta's the nerdiest city. Okay.
So what were you on social media? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We're not giving that out today.
All right. Well, thank you, Steve.
Well, you know what? To strengthen that point, you can find me on Twitter as Peach Geeks.
Okay. We'll put.
So there you go.
We'll put it in the description then.
So, anyway,
if you guys read the show description.
Thanks for the time. This may be the first and last segment of Choice to the World, but I appreciate your time.
No,
Alex.
I like it.
Thank you.
We'll talk off air. All right. Well, thank you, Steve, for that. And like you said, like the man said, that was Choy to the world. By the way, if you're curious at all why we call our podcast shows different names for different days of the week, well, we were inspired by Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll, if you didn't know, when he was at USC, he actually called each practice day a different name. And so we're doing the same thing here. Each podcast has a different name because it's recorded on a different day of the week, and all the days of the week are special. We especially think that here at ATL Boxscore. But we thought it'd be appropriate to call our middle of the week show Pro Style Thursday. Or it could be Pro Style Wednesday, but we usually record on a Thursday. So we might change that up, hopefully. So this podcast is being released Thursday, December 13th. So we're not going to have any late breaking stories. Maybe this is old news to you. Maybe this is new news. Who knows? But just want to put that out there because this is a pre-recorded podcast, unlike majority of podcasts are pre-recorded. Moving on. I thought we would just end the show with some Atlanta Braves news because it is the winter meetings in Viva Las Vegas, which I think that's an interesting place for the winter meetings to be at. Las Vegas. Hopefully no one gambled away their salary cap with a bunch of GM and managers there and front office people. So hopefully no team did that. If it was the Yankees and they gambled away like their free agent spending or something like that, they would find a way to make it up, but only the Yankees would. If it was the Atlanta Braves, I don't think they would totally recover from that. But I saw an interesting article in the AJC by Gabriel Burns, and he kind of had a Q&A. It was a Q&A article about Brian Snitker's thoughts on the Braves going into the next year. And I thought the most interesting thing about this article that I feel like was relevant and outside of the Braves wanting to get more depth, wanting to have players that don't have to go all out and have to play every single game. That's probably why they didn't go so far in the playoffs, just because they were probably tired as a mess. But anyways, it's a process, and now we're moving on. When I heard that Brian McCann was coming back to be an Atlanta Brave, and let's be honest, folks, he's probably, even though he's my age and he started playing baseball when he was really young, he's probably thinking about his last moves, and I could see the Braves being a place where he could potentially end his career. He's still pretty young, but I know being a catcher, squatting like that has to just do it to your knees. But still, Brian McCann's sitting pretty, and if he wants to retire at age, let's say 40 or 35, hey, more power to you. I don't blame you for doing that. But they also brought on Josh Dawkins, and I'm like, okay, with the Brian McCann, I don't really know too much about Josh, but with the Brian McCann thing, I was like, how is he going to be plug and play into this lineup? They already got a decent catcher already, but still, I thought that you want a veteran voice in your bullpen, in your dugout. Just from the standpoint of that baseball is that type of sport where, especially in professional baseball, that the voices you're going to listen to majority of the time aren't going to come from the manager. They're going to come from the guys that have played the game longer than you have. And the Braves right now, overall, they're a pretty young ball club, and now they want to get into the mix of getting some older guys like Brian McCann. So I'm thinking that's probably the reason why. Is I don't know how much playing time or if he's going to be a regular spot on the Braves roster, just because of since he's been around the block. Now hearing from Brian Snitker that's not necessarily the case. That they're actually looking forward to plugging and playing Brian McCann, and they feel very optimistic about his future with the Atlanta Braves being a ball player. Now, I feel like it's going to be nice for him to get a couple at bats, and especially when we need it in crunch time. It seems like Brian McCann always has had a history of being that crunch time hitter. So if he still has that stuff, well, that's going to do the Braves dividends. So I hope that what Brian Snitker is saying, two Bryans, now you got two Bryans in the ball club, what Brian Snitker is saying could actually come true. That you see a lot of productivity out of Brian McCann. Not just as a catcher, but as somewhat at bat that could that could pull through for you. I mean, there's a reason, folks, when he was at the Atlanta Braves that he was going to all-star games year after year after year. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out during the summer. I'm a little surprised that Brian Snitker's a little bit optimistic like he is. Maybe it's because right now you're in the middle of the off season, but we'll have to see. It seems like this isn't a place for Brian McCann just to kind of get by and get through his career. I mean, he's a hometown kid, and from what I've seen when he came here and all the PR that they've been doing with him, it seems like he really wants to be here. But I hope that he can get the consistency that the Braves need to go deep into the playoffs. Now, we just want to thank you guys for checking out the ATL Boxscore podcast with Alex Berger. Thanks for stopping in on Pro Style Thursday. Now, you could be listening to this on a Monday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever, but this was our show for Pro Style Thursday. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. We appreciate all the new listeners that we've been getting recently, especially now that we are on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. So check us out, and be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like what you hear. Hopefully we're giving you the stuff that ATL sports fans want to hear. So be sure to do that. Also give us a good rating, because that actually goes a long way, especially with iTunes, and that helps us draw more of an audience, because we want to reach all of you guys that are interested, especially if you're live in Atlanta and you root for all the home teams. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. And also, to check us out on social media. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, and Instagram is coming soon. And by the way, speaking of social media, we are going to put that contest out there. Whoever is the most well-educated Atlanta United fan, and you want to come on and speak about Atlanta United on a podcast consistently, well, we got the contest for you at the beginning of the year. We're going to start that. We're going to ramp that up at the beginning of the year. Well, because it's the end of the year and we kind of want to finish out the end of the year. But yes, we will start that at the beginning of the year. And a $50 Chick-fil-A gift card is going to be involved. So we'll put more information out there on social media. We'll also use the podcast to tell you about updates as they come. And right now, speaking of updates, our schedule is usually going to release podcasts on Thursday and Friday for right now. When we get to the beginning of the year, we're going to try to release at least 3 podcasts a week, and hopefully we can continue to grow on that. If you want to help sponsor the show or help to donate the show for the proceeds so we can continue on what we're doing, check out the link for the Patreon account that we put in the show description. We definitely would appreciate any donations that you guys are willing to give the show and our organization so we can be successful. So thanks for listening in today. Hopefully you had fun listening to it, as just as much fun as we had putting it together and getting it out to you. So thanks again for all you guys. You guys are awesome. If tell us what you think about Atlanta United in the comment section. How do you feel like this is going to change the city's sports perspective around the nation. And also, too, let me know about what you think about Brian McCann. So put that in the comment section. Wherever you all are listening to, if you're listening to social, on YouTube, we've got a pretty big YouTube following, listenership on YouTube. So be sure to check all that. All that is on the links on the show description. So go back to the show description if you're not sure where that stuff is. Thanks again, guys. You guys are awesome. And episode 10 is out.